Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. Thank you all for being here today. How's everyone doing this Tuesday afternoon? The sun is out. Um, it seems to be nice outside, about 66, 65, 66 degrees, so that's really good. Thank you all for being here and thank you for showing up. I really am grateful and I appreciate you guys so much. And please keep sharing these videos so that everyone who needs to hear these messages can get these messages. Subscribe to the channel so that you will know when I'm on because I can't promise a time Monday through Friday when I'm here, but I will be here. And, I want to help people because certain messages that I'm sharing within these videos are personal. These are things that I had to struggle through so that I can have my inner peace and not be in pieces, and so that I can learn how to self love and take care of myself, which is so important. It's important for all of us, not just for me. And I use music sometimes sometimes when you guys hop on these videos, I may not say anything. I just may have my phone with some music going. And one of the reasons for that is that the music itself is related to the topic of discussion and probably more than less the title. Like yesterday was Smiling Faces, because that song has a huge message in it when you're dealing with people, and it just talks about what to look for and what's real and what's fake. I love that song. So I used it before I even started speaking yesterday. And I might do that more in the future. Everything that know this, everything that I talk about on this channel, it's all leading up to healing and self love, self care. We talk a lot about toxicity and some of the things to look for because, we can avoid toxic situations, um, with other people if we know what to look for, especially, if we've been through it over and over again, like myself. So, guys, I hope your day was good. And let's jump into this topic of discussion today. And the topic of discussion, the importance of healing and to stay in peace. It is so important. The world we live in today is spending mostly on misery, toxicity, negativity. And, when I turn on the news, the only thing that seems to be good is the weather. Everything else is always something negative, and I try not to take in that negativity too much. So I may have the news on for 5 or 6 minutes so that I can see other things that's going on, things that I need to know. Like last week, I got two Amber Alerts to my phone about two children that were snatched from their family. One was brought back home. I don't know so much about the other one, but certain things I need to know about. So I try to tune in, but not too long because I don't take in a lot of negativity as I did before. So I talk from a place of personal experiences. I may not get into all the details about these experiences, but I get into enough of the details to let you guys know that any of these things that I'm discussing, that if you've gone through it, I've gone through it too, and it may resonate with you. And then I talk about how I got through it because the outcome and the importance is to get through it. And like I said in prior videos, I'm going to say here again, life is situations and people come into our life for a reason, a season, a lifetime, or a lesson. And I mostly emphasize lessons because that's what it was for me. That there was lessons I needed to learn. And once I learned the lessons, then a toxic situation doesn't repeat itself. I don't spin on that wheel. And like I always say, because if you have to learn that lesson 2 and 3 and 4 times, when it spins back around, it may be a different person, situation, but the same toxicity is going to be worse than ever if we don't learn. So it's important to learn the lessons quick so we can move on with our lives. Um, Healing, what I've learned on this journey to heal so far, because, it's never ending, but it gets better as I learn these lessons and progress through them. Healing leads to learning how to see problems for me and situations from a different perspective. How to learn, I learned how to handle situations within my own life from a different perspective. Instead of, I don't look at things so much as black and white. There's always some gray in the middle, and I see things not on a traditional level, but sometimes I have to think outside that box in order to resolve issues and problems and situations, whether it's situations or um, situations and problems with other people. So, with that being said, let me remind you guys again that I'm not a therapist or social worker. I don't have a certification or a degree in that category. I have a degree, but not in that category. Um, However, I'm someone who's gone through so many of these trials and tribulations and toxicity that I talk about here on this channel that I've learned ways to get through it. And I'm going to share that with you because people who listen to this channel, who may tune in, may hear something that resonates with their own situation, and the information that I'm providing may help you with those situations. So let's tune in. Um, when I learned to love myself, one of the things that was so important to me is to stop being codependent on other people, putting my all, my 1,000,000% trust in other people and being codependent on them. Because I was, subservient is a form of codependence too, because I wanted people to like me. Even though I always knew I was different and I always marched to a different beat of the drum. However, I still wanted people to like me. And I used to do things to try to fit into their world. But, it never mixed. It's like water and oil that doesn't mix. And trying to force it, it's like putting your foot in a shoe that you want to purchase, but your foot is too big, it doesn't fit. No matter what stocking you put on, a sock or whatever the case may be, you can turn it inside and out. You can use something to try to get your foot all the way in, but it's not going to fit. And that's what I was doing. And I did that for half of my life. And this half, I learned what I needed to learn so that I can love myself, because healing leads to self-love, and self-love well, first of all, healing leads to self-care, and then self-care, self-love, and then the inner peace comes, and then all of the codependency and all those other toxic behavior patterns dissipates. And that was my experience with it. I have some notes here so that I can cover some things and not forget today. um, when I used to actually would be codependent on relationships, ex-partners, to bring happiness to my life, Oh, because that's how I thought it was. We grow up in certain families and tradition, traditional settings, and just television and things that rule our world on how we should be and how we should not be. But in reality, none of us come, life doesn't come with a book of instructions and etc. We have to learn as we go along what works for us, because what we're learning in certain traditional settings and television and stuff may not work for who we are as an individual. Like, I know on a personal level, it didn't work for me. I come from a family that from the time I was 5 or 6 was involved in this cult like cult like religion environment and setting, and I never fit into that. I went along with the flow because my mom got involved with that when I was 6 or 7 years old. And you know for me, as I grew up and I saw certain things, and I would question things, and according to them, I wasn't supposed to question things. Just do what we tell you to do, kind of attitude. I even had spoke about a relationship that I had one time for 10 years. And it took a lot for me to really get mad and to stand my ground. And we were having this really nasty fight, argument, just in each other's faces, and it wasn't pretty. And this ex said to me, yelled in my face, "We wouldn't be having this argument if you just do what I tell you." And this ex was serious. And I stood back and laughed for a minute. You got to be kidding me. You have to be crazy, right? And to think like this. And I realized at that moment that this is never going to work. Sometimes we want to hold on to situations that no longer serve us. And that's what I was doing because I wanted that family environment so bad. My parents broke up when I was a child, and but I had my father around. He would come around, but not as often as I wanted. However, he was a part of my life as I got older. But, I wanted that for myself, and I had a child at the time, and it was toxic. And the least I am today, I would never stay in that kind of situation, but I did because I wanted it to work so bad. And it was just getting worse and worse and worse. And the ex didn't want to do the couples therapy and stuff. And when people don't want to do it, then they don't want to do the work to better the situation. But I couldn't see it that way at the time. Um, as I healed wounds within myself, I learned in order to give to any kind of relationship, I have to love me first and give to me. I have to build me up because self love is important. Because, as I always say in prior videos, how am I going to give to a relationship, or any situation? If, not just a romantic relationship, but like any situation in my life, whether it's a family or whatever it is, how can I give to that if I don't love me? What am I giving if I don't even love me? So it's important for all of us to love ourselves and put ourselves as a priority as we're healing and getting to know ourselves, and changing some of the things that hurt us, that broke us, made us feel broken and traumatized us. And that's not easy to do. It's a lot of work, you know. Um, and I had to take the time out and isolate myself to do the work because it wasn't easy. And the work requires looking at myself. Why do I feel broken? Uh, why is my inner child hurting so much? What created it? And what can I do to fix it? And therapy was the starting point and helped me with that. And like I said, none of this is easy. Sometimes, when I look around and I think about people, some people want things quick like a microwave. Life doesn't work that way. We have to do the work, you know, and we have to, work is not easy, but I guarantee you that it's worth it at the end, because at the end result is peace, inner peace, tranquility, being unbothered by the craziness, and the self love, the self care. Because as you love yourself, you're going to want to do healthy things, eat healthier, be healthy in ways, to take care of yourself. Make sure you're okay, like going to the doctor more, making sure that you are okay, instead of neglecting yourself, wanting to, be the best version of yourself that you can be. In order to do all of these things, we must be honest with ourselves. And what I learned to do is hold myself accountable for things that I've done in the past that I could have done differently, and then move on from it. And it doesn't mean I'm weak or whatever the case may be. It means that I know that I make mistakes, look at that, and okay, I can do better and move on from it. The work is hard and painful, but like I said, it's worth it at the end because the end result is self love, self care, and inner peace. And when you have that inner peace, you're unbothered by the craziness that's going on that other people try to pull you back in. That's why I just cut off, block, and delete. Because some people you can't sit and have these conversations with because they don't want to do the work to heal. They're in a place of toxicity. and some choose to stay there. So when you sit down, when I sat down to try to come to a agreement or compromise, they were not doing it. It's my way or the highway. So I always take the highway, block, cut off, delete, because I'm important, I matter. I also had to turn to God to trust Him instead of putting my trust in other people all the time, because people will let you down, no doubt. They will let you down, because they're human. Just we all are human, but God is always there, and He has your back. And I'm living proof of it, because every time I take a step, God take two and three, and He's right there and showed me miracles that only come from Him. And and no doubt, irrefutable proof that He's working to help me as I help myself. Because God is not going to step out and help us if we're not even trying to help ourselves. And that's so important. Um, Now, what I do is embrace the positive things in life while I X out the toxicity. Anything that's going to bring hell and toxicity and drama and craziness, I'm not dealing with it. I will address the things, the situations a few times, but come on, we're adults. And when a person want to keep riding that wheel of drama and toxicity and trying to bring hell to my life, I just cut off, block, and delete. Before I used to feel some kind of way about it. Today, I just do it because I am not allowing myself to be dragged back to a place that I worked so hard to get out of. I'm not having it. I'm not hearing it. I'm not tuning into it. And if people want to gossip, lie, and say whatever, that's on them. What I look at the most is that if other people want to believe the lies without having doing the research about who that person is and what they do and what they don't do, and they want to believe that, that's on them. What is important to me is to stay on this path to heal and to help others through my personal experiences so that they can take the information that resonates with them in order to help themselves, and to also start to work with a therapist, in particular, a grief therapist that can help you day by day, step by step. Um, Another thing I had to do is to take back my power. I was giving my power away. I had to learn to get away from controlling individuals who wanted to control every aspect of my life. And it was my fault, people, because I was handing over my power. No one can take power away from you unless you relinquish it to them, give them the power over your life. And I'm not doing that. The old Lisa was so um, interested and so focused on people liking me, And some people will like you naturally and others won't. And that's okay too. Nobody has to like everybody in this world, as long as they don't take a negative action against you because they don't like you. That's never okay. But I had to learn to deal with that, and as I grew and learning to love myself and self-caring, and I'm okay with that, but I took back my power as I drew closer to God, asked God to help me as I take these steps. And these steps were scary, but I took them, took back my power. And when a person, especially when you're dealing with a narcissist, they get angry. When you take back your power and say, no more of this, I'm not dealing with this, they try to use scare tactics, gossip, and I'm going to do this, this is going to happen, and etc. And I give all of that negative energy to God, because God is not going to allow it. I've done so much work, people, and I'm still doing work. It's never easy. And just keep it moving, and I keep going. And some days, I have a hard time. I just, especially as we get closer to next Monday, which is the anniversary of my mom's death, but I put on music. That means that this is the time for more music, more me time, so that I can build myself up, keeping myself busy and just trying to get through it and realize that my mom would never want me to stay in a place of brokenness, depression, sadness, and grief. She would never want that. And so I strive hard to get through these things. And you guys can do this too, one day at a time, one step at a time. Nothing ventured is nothing gained. Never give up on yourself. Um, Individuals who wanted to, con- hold on a minute, guys. What it is that I have some notes here. I had to remove individuals who wanted to control every aspect of my life, and they wasn't backing down, and neither was I. I am very determined, very self-disciplined. These are the things that came out of the healing for me. Is I'm very direct. I'm slow when it comes to making important decisions. I'm no longer that impulsive person. Okay, I'm gonna take my time with all that I do, whether it's a business situation, a personal relationship. We're going to take our time and get to know each other. And if that person is anxious to, oh, we got to get into this, and oh, I'm just going to say, hey, I'm not for you. No matter how much I like that person, because everything I do, I take my time so I can see the pros and the cons of the situation and how it's going to affect me and etc. And vice versa, affect them as well. Because I'm no longer the same Lisa Vaughn that I used to be. And that's what the old individuals don't understand. Because I'm going to tell you how I feel, and I'm not going to stutter or bite my tongue. I don't have to be nasty about it. I don't have to use a lot of profanities. I just have to be my authentic self. And that's important to me. But always be honest about how I feel about something, and how important it is for me to stay on this path to heal. And it doesn't matter to me anymore who like it and who don't like it, because that's not my problem. That's an OPP, other people's problems. And that's something for them to work on, not for me. I have to stay in this on this journey to help myself. It's important. And sometimes I feel the vibes of people that, oh, she thinks she all that. I'm gonna knock her off the high horse, and I'm not on a high horse. When you're healing, you have to look at yourself, and you have to see all the things in yourself that hurts you, and that inner child that's broken and hurt, anxiety, and all these things. You have to start finding ways to heal that. And therapy is the source. It's the first part of putting together the pieces of the puzzle so that you can see what that picture is, you know? And I don't pay attention to these things. And people that continue to do these things, I go into prayer with God and ask God to deal with those things so that I can stay focused on my healing. And He has been doing that. No doubt He has been doing that. And I stay in prayer with God and I stay close to Him. Like I said, I don't have to be at a church every week in order to have a relationship with God. I just have to cultivate that relationship with Him. And I'm on this channel to help people to learn how to trust yourself, to love yourself. Because as you start doing the work, all these things start to happen naturally. I'm going to tell you, it's not going to happen overnight. Nothing in life is quick like a microwave, at least not the right things. You have to take the time to do the work, and you can have fun with doing the work. Do things that bring joy to your heart. If you like volunteering at an animal shelter, or doing things like that uplift your spirit, that helps you. And what I had to learn to do is to let the toxicity go, which was the hardest part so far of the journey, because there were certain people in my life that was holding me back. Like the smiling faces video I did yesterday, people are smiling in your face and make you think they have your back, and they're behind the scenes really trying to tear you down. Yeah, I'm gonna break her down and I'm gonna do this and that. And while they're doing that, I'm in prayer and giving it to God and saying, God, this is a burden I can't handle, and I need to stay in a place of healing so that I don't have to focus on this. And as God see that I'm truly doing that and taking those steps, He's going to say, okay, I got this. Keep healing. Keep doing what you're doing. And I got the rest. And He has shown me that He has the rest. And you don't have to be a scholar to pray to God. You don't have to have specific prayers. Just be your authentic self. I talk to God like I do if my natural father was here. Like I would have a conversation with him, and God answers that, and He hears that, and I'm grateful, because I've gone through so much, and like this week has been like hard because I'm thinking about my mother and how I miss her laughter, how I miss our conversations, how I miss certain things she would tell me to do, and how I would not do them, you know. But she would be proud that I am doing those things that she's been, telling me about for years. I just wish I would have done some of these things when she was here, but I know her spirit is still around me. And, and I keep going and I don't give up because she would never want that as well. And just keeping her memory alive through storytelling, and I may do a video on that on Monday, which is the 15th, just to talk about what she brought to me and, how the things I've learned from her. One of the things I learned from my mom is to, she also taught me things like self-care. We used to go get our hair done together. Don't go outside looking like, you know, you just crawled out of bed. You're a woman. Make sure certain things that I appreciate today that I probably didn't appreciate back then. But, just let us all who lost passed over loved ones, keep their memory alive through storytelling. I would love to hear from some of you guys who lost loved ones. What did they bring to your life? Tell me in the comment category. What are some of the things that they gave to you to help you, in life itself? That's so important, never to lose that and never to let their memory die, always to keep it alive. That's some of the things that I've learned so far. Well, that's the message today. I hope this message will help someone who's hurting really bad within themselves from Passover loved one, from trauma, from grief, from anxiety, to, you know, um, help them so that they can, find ways to be at peace and to heal and to do better. Because your Passover loved ones would never, ever want you to be in a place where you're still grieving and hurt and you can't move on. So that's the message today. It's better to be at peace than in pieces. So let's continue to keep this going so that we can help other people. It's about no judgment here to help others. And please connect to a grief therapist so that they can, that's a starting point. And then perhaps with the grief bereavement group, because you're going to learn from other people about experiences of grief and pain that they've gone through and how they're getting through it. Remember, we never get over the loss of the loved one, but we can definitely get through it. Thank you. That is the message today. Thank you for being here. And please share this video with others. And please subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be talking using different metaphors and examples. So thank you so much. This is Lisa shedding love and light. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye for now.